Welcome back to part 2 of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas, bringing you another edition of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, the TTSP, as I have abbreviated it. That's my new abbreviation for it on Facebook. If you have not already liked the Thomas Take Facebook page, please do so by searching Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Also, every single episode, every Thomas Take episode, is on YouTube. You go to Thomas Take 92, it's right there. You type in Thomas Take Sports Podcast, it's right there. Either way, you'll find it by searching one of those two options. So, that being said, this is part 2 to the Thomas Take tonight. Today is February 15th, 2017. Guys, I know what it feels like. Right now, you're at a point in your life where you just spent way too much money on your Valentine, and you don't know if it was worth it. Was it worth it? The end of the night was probably worth it, but was the afternoon, was the dinner worth it? Was the dinner good? A lot can go wrong on Valentine's Day. It has to be perfect in order for you to feel as if it's okay. And we all know that that's not the case. So, to the guys that did have good Valentine's Days, that is great. I'm a single gentleman. I spent my day yesterday doing virtually nothing. Netflix and chilling was the variety in which my day had. And preparing this podcast, actually, was part 2 of that. So this is part 2 of the Thomas Take today, February 15th, 2017. I'm Ryan Thomas, sports journalist from Buffalo, New York. My Fantasy Sports Talk, Buffalo Hockey Central, Buffalo Football Central, and the newest member of the Ground Force Fighting production team. I'll be working exclusively with Ground Force Fights. It's an amateur-based mixed martial arts organization in Buffalo, New York. March 25th, there is a fight card that will be put on full display. New York amateur mixed martial arts. The amateur New York mixed martial arts scene is set to explode with the unveiling of New York allowing mixed martial arts to be sanctioned in the state of New York. It has been over almost 22 years since the UFC has been in Buffalo. So now we're starting to see the amateur circuit actually heat up as well, and I think New York amateur circuit, the independent circuit, has a lot to offer. Ground Force Fights, King of the Cage, a lot of independent promotions in Western New York, and Ground Force Fights is one that I'm happy to be a part of. So that being said, if you want to come to the fights, March 25th, they are in Batavia. I don't know the location yet. As soon as I do know the location, I'll be sure to plug this on virtually every one of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast episodes and give you guys the information that you are looking for. So, with that being said, this is part 2 of the Thomas Take. I want to give my take on the cast unveiling of The Ultimate Fighter. We got news today, we all got news today, that The Ultimate Fighter Redemption cast has been released, and I am so excited about this news. Joe Daddy Stevenson getting a second shot at fighting in the UFC. Jesse Taylor getting a shot at fighting in the UFC. James Krause, although he's currently in the UFC, he is getting a chance to kind of get the exposure that he wants. Justin Lawrence, who was on the Lesnar Junior Dos Santos season, was I believe he was on that season. I think he was on that season, or maybe he was on the cruise. I'm not sure. But those 3 names are the ones that jumped out to me. 4 names, I should say, were the ones that jumped out to me the most. Ramsey Nijem, Eddie Gordon, Julian Lane, the guy that said, "Let me bang, bro," and the other guy said, "I love it when you bang." Diego Lima, Hector Urbina, guys that were once in the UFC that have fallen on really hard times are now getting a shot at coming back. I like that concept. That concept was first seen in the Ultimate Fighter comeback season, where the winner of that season got a welterweight title shot The winner of that season was Matt Serra when he beat Chris Lytle in the finale. He got a welterweight title shot against the before-mentioned, in part one of the Thomas Takes, the Thomas Takes Sports Podcast, part one of today's show. Matt Serra got the fight against George St. Pierre. He took the belt in a huge upset. In my eyes, the biggest upset in UFC history. Now Matt Serra is in lore for that. And that season really helped the UFC become what it is today. And I really hope that this season helps catapult the UFC even more so. One guy that I'm really rooting for is Joe Daddy Stevenson. He fought BJ Penn for his lightweight strap. Lost, obviously. And he hasn't really been the same since. So he's a former Ultimate Fighter winner, Ultimate Fighter Season 2 winner. Now he'll be on the Ultimate Fighter Season 25. So it's been a long career for Joe Daddy Stevenson. He is really looking to make a comeback. Had issues with his weight and things of that nature that allowed him to kind of fight outside of his capability. And it ruined his career. Now he's trying to make that comeback, trying to get back on the horse, and I'm happy for him. I'm glad that the UFC is putting on a season like this again. I think that they should do this much more often, rather than do the comeback season, rather than do the season that they are doing currently right now. With the huge gap in between it, do it ever so often. Do it every 3-4 seasons. That's what I would like to see. The coaches of this season are Cody Garbrandt, the new UFC Bantamweight champion, versus TJ Dillashaw. Those names were synonymous due to the fact that they used to be teammates at Team Alpha Male, based out of Sacramento, California, leaded by Uriah Faber. We all know the story with that. If you don't know the story, I'm going to tell it to you. TJ Dillashaw bolted with the head coach of then Team Alpha Male, Dwayne Ludwig, for Colorado. They left Team Alpha Male together. It caused a huge rift in Team Alpha Male. It caused a huge rift with TJ Dillashaw and the before-mentioned Uriah Faber. That was seen on the Ultimate Fighter Season 23, I believe, with Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber. And Cody Garbrandt actually came to the defense of TJ Dillashaw, but time has passed. A lot has happened in between then and now, where TJ Dillashaw has said some things that were pretty low blows towards Uriah Faber and Cody Garbrandt, and back and forth. So this is a bad blood season, featuring two fighters that are in their prime of their career, featuring a fighter that is the new UFC Bantamweight champion versus a fighter that is the former UFC Bantamweight champion, trying to get his belt back. I anticipate that this will be one of the best seasons of The Ultimate Fighter in recent memory. I'm very excited about this season. It premieres April 19th on Fox Sports 1. Jesse Taylor is a guy that threw away his opportunity at becoming a finalist within The Ultimate Fighter. He had a assault situation at a casino days leading up to the Ultimate Fighter finale. He was pulled from the Ultimate Fighter finale, and it virtually ruined his career. Now that guy is getting a chance. Now guys like Justin Lawrence are getting a chance. Ramsey Nijem is getting a chance. Very interesting stuff. James Krause is getting a chance at coming back and redeeming himself on the big stage. It's very, very interesting to see what will happen, what will come of this, who will show their age, who will show that they are prime and ready for the UFC spotlight. And obviously, Uriah Faber will be a part of this season, being on the coaching staff of Cody Garbrandt. So we'll see a little bit of Garbrandt and Faber teaming up against TJ Dillashaw and probably Dwayne Ludwig during the season. I was thrilled when I heard the announcement that Garbrandt versus Dillashaw would be the coaches on the UFC Ultimate Fighter season. It's going to be epic, and to see that this cast was released, I am so pumped. The Ultimate Fighter has needed a little bit of a rejuvenation. I've enjoyed every season, but to the casual fan, this season will be very, very good. This will bring in a lot of different types of fan appreciation. It'll be very interesting to see what will happen with this season. I'm excited. I've repeated myself, but this is an opportunity for these guys that most fighters do not get. When you get the chance and you blow it, and then things start to unravel. You can't make weight. You're not as fast as you once were. The UFC doesn't hand out second chances like this very often. And for Joe Daddy Stevenson, a former UFC lightweight title challenger, a former Ultimate Fighter winner, this is a huge opportunity. This is the biggest opportunity that has been given to a fighter that was once in the UFC that is now not in the UFC since Matt Serra and Chris Lytle and Travis Lutter and guys like that got the opportunity to redeem themselves inside the Ultimate Fighter comeback season, which I believe was season 3 or season 4. But yeah, very exciting stuff. This makes me feel nostalgia from back then, from when I watched it. You know, I watched Ultimate Fighter season 1, 2. I've watched every season, and I remember thinking to myself, this is really cool. This is really cool, allowing fighters to get the opportunity to come back, redeem themselves, put themselves on the big, put themselves under the big spotlight on the big stage on national TV every Wednesday on Fox Sports 1. The episodes are starting filming today. They did the pre-fight stuff, the pre-media scrum, pre-show media scrum, if you want to call it that. And the bad blood was there with Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. They exchanged words about each other, not to each other's face, but I highly anticipate that will be the case. There will be trash talk face-to-face, and I would not be shocked if we see some sort of fight take place inside the Ultimate Fighter house or Ultimate Fighter gym between the fighters or the coaches. This season is going to be amazing. And for those of you that have not watched a season of The Ultimate Fighter, this is the season to start. Ultimate Fighter Redemption, April 19th, Fox Sports 1, Team Garbrandt versus Team Dillashaw. They will fight at the end of the season, probably on pay-per-view, possibly maybe on TV. I would prefer it to be on TV. I like when they have the coaches fight on TV, along with the Ultimate Fighter finale fighters. That was pretty cool, and they used to do that back in the day. They did that a few years back. Hopefully we see that again. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was my take on the Ultimate Fighter Redemption cast announcements and the season itself. Take care.